Now, as Solomon continues through the text, again, we're here in Ecclesiastes, and he has just finished a big chunk of time. And where we left off last time is Ecclesiastes chapter 2. And what Solomon is doing is, after he gives his credentials of being the wisest man who ever lives and being a king, he says, I said in my heart, go to now. I will prove thee with mirth. Therefore enjoy pleasure. And behold, this also is vanity. I said of laughter, it is mad. I said of mirth, what doeth it? I sought in my heart concern to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting my heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was good for the sons of men, which they should do under the heaven all the days of their life. I made me great works. I builded me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards, and I planted trees in them of all kinds of fruits. I made me pools of water, to water therewith the wood that bringeth forth trees. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. I also had great possessions of great and small cattle, above all that were before me in Jerusalem. I gathered me also silver and gold, the peculiar treasure of kings and of provinces. I got me men singers and women singers, as the delights of the sons of men, as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So I was great, and I increased more than all these that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. And whatsoever my eyes desired I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was the portion of my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and the labor I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly, for what can a man do that cometh after the king, even that which is already done? Then I saw that wisdom excelleth folly, as far as light excelleth darkness. Now, this is where his frustration starts to play out, because he's looking at all of these things that he's done in his life, and he's basically saying, if wisdom can't solve these problems, what else can? And so that's where he goes. And he goes to all these other things. He goes to pleasure, he goes to power, he goes to privilege, he goes to all these things, and thing after thing after thing after thing. And ultimately it's just this frustration of going, why? Why am I doing this? And again, these are those goads. This is the dissatisfaction that the end of Ecclesiastes is talking about. Solomon is being goaded into reconsidering what he's living for. And again, he's doing it on purpose. He's intentionally putting himself through this. And again, that's why I focus on Jim Bird earlier in this study. So some of the other things that he tries to solve the problem. He's testing wisdom. He's testing madness. He's testing folly. All of these things he's concluding are hevel. He seeks that the laughter. So he'll talk about the laughter of the foolish throughout the book. He's seeing and he's going, it's pointless. It's vain. It's empty. Again, he'll keep talking, but again, throughout every step of this, he's not losing his wits. He's still staying sane in this whole situation. But again, he keeps coming back to, what's the point? Like, why? Why do I continue doing this? Now, I think it's important to note, as we look at Ecclesiastes chapter 2, he is a man who has accomplished a lot in his life. And what's important is, it wasn't just menial work. It wasn't work that was just soul-crushing. He specifically says he liked what he did. He enjoyed it. It was his heart rejoiced in all his labor, and his portion was right there. Like, he enjoyed doing this work, but still, ultimately, he looked at it and said, why? What is the point here? And again, you see him lay out some things in that. Now, we'll probably do a side note on verse 12 and 13 and 14, because again, he has some very interesting things to say there. But again, his point is, in all of his biography, in all the things that he's experienced in his life, he's still getting frustrated in that. Now, Ecclesiastes 1 verse 3 lays out, it says, what profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? Well, it's important to note that Ecclesiastes 2:11 is directly answering that question, because Ecclesiastes 2:11 says, I looked on all the works of my hands that had wrought, the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, this was all vanity and vexation of spirit. And so it's this idea of, yeah, I mean, what is the profit? Well, there really is none. Like, ultimately, there is no profit. Like, you can enjoy it while you're doing it, which is part of why you enjoy life while you live. But ultimately, there is no end profit. We'll get to some of the real profit later. So he is going to turn to things like wisdom and folly. And what you're going to start to see as we continue through this text, he's going to start saying, yes, there is no ultimate benefit per se, because we're all going to die, but there are some things that are better than others. And that's where we're going to get into texts like Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 13. So that's where we're going to continue next time. Thank you guys for tuning in so far, and we'll pick up on the next lesson.